there's also what is used in the States, the concept of prenuptial agreement.
Right.
We don't call it that. We don't call that here in Ontario. We call them marriage contracts or cohabitation agreements.
Okay.
And regrettably, they're not very aggressively used. In other words, very few people actually think to do so. And
why is that?
a number of levels. One, it's an uncomfortable subject.
Yes, it is.
You know, the whole process of dating and proposals and engagements and wedding planning, the concept of discussing a prenup or a marriage contract doesn't nicely fit into any of the waves along the way there. It's an uncomfortable subject, generally brought up where one person comes from a family where there are significant assets.
Right.
And those assets have been deliberately placed in the children's names, and the parent or parents ask the child who's about to get married to broach the subject with their fiancé, and that's generally how it happens.
And I imagine, now I don't have a prenup, but I imagine those are pretty intense discussions because it's you're putting a financial label on feelings, you know, and I figure some relationships could teeter just on that. Just go, forget it.
There are many cases that fall apart at that stage.
Really?
So they were dating, they love each other,
Yeah.
they've been talking about their future together.
You got it.
And 3 months before the wedding, one of them says to the other one, my parents or I would like a prenup or a marriage contract. And now it's not, the concept in and of itself is problematic.
Right.
Now, who decides what goes in it? The lawyers? No. The parties, the spouses.
Right.
The couple.
Right.
So the lawyer says to the couple, well, what do you want to protect? Do you want to protect your assets, your income, your future income? I mean, there's certain things you cannot sign off on, like you can't agree to how kids are going to be raised or who are going to raise the children or how their time is going to be divided or how much support will be paid for children. But you could decide on things like property division. You could decide on things like spousal support. Well, what happens if it's a young couple? What happens if it's two young professionals?
Right.
And one's a doctor and one's an accountant. And they plan on having children. Well, should it say in the agreement that if they have 3 children, this is how the assets will be divided? Or if there's no children, should there be any spousal support paid? Now we're having to get into the details. So who are negotiating these details? It should be the people. They're signing the contract. Well, that could actually cause a tremendous amount of anxiety.